Today, we're diving into two really powerful folktales from India. They're all about resilience, some serious ingenuity, and how a simple tandoor oven became this incredible symbol of transformation for two women who were facing, well, pretty much impossible odds.
You know that old saying, necessity is the mother of invention? We've all heard it a million times. But is it really true? Well, we're about to meet two women who were forced to answer that very question. Not with words, but with their actions.
All right, let's meet our protagonists, Mohini and Kavita. Now, on the surface, their lives might seem totally different, but they share this common thread of a quiet, daily struggle against circumstances that honestly would break most people.
So first up, we've got Mohini. She's a widow, working these grueling, thankless hours making rotis at a local eatery, a dhaba. Her boss is just relentless, constantly threatening her job. And then when she finally gets home, completely exhausted, she just faces this wall of criticism from her in-laws, just zero support. And then there's Kavita. She runs a tiny food stall in a remote village, but it's barely enough to survive on. She's the only person supporting her disabled husband and her young daughter, whose respiratory illness gets dangerously worse with every single drop in temperature. The stakes for her are incredibly high.
To really, truly appreciate their brilliance, we have to understand the immense pressure they were under. This wasn't just a tough week, you know? It was a crushing, relentless weight that they had to carry every single day. You can see their struggles were running on these parallel tracks, but they were also distinct. For Mohini, it was a battle for dignity against constant emotional abuse. For Kavita, it was this desperate race against time to save her family from sickness and poverty. Both of them were trapped, just fighting for a way out. This was Mohini's reality. Her boss literally told her, if even one customer complains today, don't bother showing up tomorrow. Can you just imagine working under that kind of constant threat, where one tiny little mistake could mean losing your entire livelihood? For Kavita, the burden was a number. The doctor said the surgery her husband needed would cost 5 lakh rupees. I mean, that's just an astronomical, completely impossible amount of money for a woman selling rotis from a small stall. She was in desperate need of a miracle. And this brings us to the turning point, because when the pressure became absolutely unbearable, it didn't break them. Nope. Instead, it sparked a moment of brilliant innovation, born directly from their desperation. So, after her young son wished they had a little tandoor at home just to stay warm, an idea sparked for Mohini. She took a broken bucket, coated it in mud, lit some firewood inside, and created a makeshift heater. It was a simple, resourceful solution to survive the bitter cold, an invention born right out of a mother's love. Kavita's innovation was different. When a sudden, heavy snowfall stranded a tourist couple near her dhaba, she realized they needed more than just food. They needed warmth. So she fired up her tandoor, turning her humble little eatery into a life-saving shelter. She didn't invent a new object. She invented a new purpose for something she already had. Now, these acts of ingenuity, they didn't go unnoticed. Just as these women took action to change their own circumstances, the world around them started to respond with these really unexpected moments of kindness. So get this, in a stunning reversal, Mohini's mother-in-law actually witnesses her boss screaming at her. And in that one moment, everything changed. She pulled Mohini away and said, "That's enough. You will start your own work." The very person who had been a source of so much criticism suddenly became her biggest champion. And, as it turned out, that stranded tourist Kavita helped. He was one of the country's most famous doctors. He was so moved by her kindness that he gave her 5 lakh rupees, the exact amount she needed for her husband's surgery. Her simple act of hospitality delivered the very miracle she had been praying for. These moments were the catalysts. They weren't just temporary fixes. They were the launchpads that propelled both of these women from a life of just barely surviving to one of genuine success. So with her mother-in-law's pension money, Mohini turned her simple heater into a business. Her family helped her sell them, and she became a self-reliant entrepreneur, finally earning the respect she had always deserved. And Kavita? Well, the doctor not only provided the money, but he also treated her family for free. Word of his visit turned her tiny dhaba into a tourist sensation. She used the earnings to expand, eventually building a large hotel and becoming a wealthy, respected business owner. Their journeys are just incredible. Both of them started with a humble tandoor right at the center of their lives. For Mohini, it led to self-reliance. For Kavita, it led to wealth.
And for both of them, it was a path from hardship to a life of dignity and success. So this brings us to a final thought. Both women received a crucial helping hand from a mother-in-law, from a kind stranger, but you have to wonder, would that help have ever arrived without their own courage, their own resourcefulness, their own refusal to just give up? What was the real miracle here? Was it the outside help or the strength they found inside themselves? Definitely something to think about.